Welcome to the Windrush Foundation series of interviews. We are celebrating, or commemorating more likely, to the 75th anniversary of the Windrush. Today, I'm very, very pleased to have Semerah, who's part of the National Black Parents Association. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Cindy.
Fantastic. Now, for those people who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background so people know about you?
Sure. So thank you very much for having me here. My name is Semerah, and I'm one of the directors and board members of the National Black Parents Association UK. My professional background is within anti-money laundering, relationship management, operations and strategy, both here in the UK as well as globally, and very, very honoured and privileged, as it were, to be a member of the National Black Parents Association.
Well, we're very pleased to have you here today with the series of Windrush 75 commemoration events. So, again, that's a vast amount of things that you do, and just so we can go a little bit more in depth and to let people know what that all means, how they can help or how they can be more aware of supporting you, can you just break down the Black Teachers Parents Association, is that correct?
So it's the National Black Parents Association, UK at the end, because there is an association, a sister one in the US. And the reason the association was actually founded was off of the back of what happened with Child Q. But what we wanted to ensure as a community is that we had a response as opposed to a reaction to, dare I say it, the atrocities of what happened to that young girl. And so the reason why we set the association up is so that it is fourfold. One is so that we can be that voice to support parents, whether it be that they are experiencing mental health and emotional well-being challenges and or their children are. Equally, we want to be able to really and truly look at career progression for our Black teachers. So that's where you were leading with that, is that we want to ensure that the representation in the school system actually is reflective of society. But equally, we don't just want to look at any of the problems that are before our children or parents. We also want to be solution orientated. So we're looking at entrepreneurship, business opportunities and career progression for our young people as well. So we look at the emotional, mental well-being, we look at careers, business, apprenticeships for our young people. We look at the career development and progression for our teachers, as well as advocacy and being that voice for our parents of Black children and children of dual heritage across the UK.
So when did the organisation start and who's involved?
So we actually launched officially in December of last year, and so we're still within our first year anniversary.
Doing the groundwork.
Yes, we are. Yeah. And we have 8 members of our board. So Andrew Mohammed is actually the chair of our board, and he's been an education consultant up and down the country, very well revered within that space for over 25 years. So he was actually the brainchild behind the organisation. You have myself and Leonard Phillips, and we use our anti-money laundering and compliance background to really and truly look at ensuring that we are a fully fledged non-for-profit organisation that can be of the highest standard that we should be representing ourselves and holding ourselves to that account. We have the likes of Susan Rowe, Janet, as well as Daniel Pink, who are fantastic within the Southeast London area with LEG, so Lewisham Education Group, Ubuntu, and we also have David Okoro, who works with Andrew as being one of the directors of the Young Leaders Academy, and so that's looking at leadership skills amongst our Black children. And we also have Rachel. So Rachel Clark is a deputy head teacher. She's actually the granddaughter of Betty, who was the first Black head teacher in Wales.
Wow.
Betty Campbell, MBE, the late Betty Campbell. So as you can see, we have a very, very high caliber, if I dare say so, on our board. And we've really and truly looked at our skill sets. I myself feel very proud that I work voluntarily within the mental health sector, and looking at how we can really improve the mental and emotional well-being of our parents and our children. So we've looked at all of our skill sets and how, as I said, we can be that solution to a lot of the challenges that befall our parents and our young children, but also being solution focused as well, so that we can be ahead of the curve, not just also being reactionary, which is something that we have found has been a lot of the case in our community, but no longer has to be the case.
I think what you're saying, what I find really good, is not only obviously you're using your skill sets, but you're focusing on the parents, the teachers, as well as the parents, and that's very powerful, because if you're taking care of that, and like you said, the umbrella approach, that can only be a really positive way, a direction to take. Can I, again, just to drill down a little bit, so could you name a specific scenario where all of those things will be intertwined, of how your organisation can help, and how, say for example, if a parent would come to you for some reason, what would be the process?
So we are a completely free organisation, and so you're able to either email in or connect with us on social media. A real life example, I won't name names, but we had a situation where a parent came to us via email to say that their child was facing exclusion, and so what should they do? And so what we then will do is we will look at not just the skill sets and our own network amongst the board, but we have got fantastic service providers who have actually registered with our organisation, so that we can therefore then be that intermediary. We then put the parent in touch and say, well, look, these are the service providers that we have. We've actually vetted them, held them to a very, very stringent account. And so of these service providers, here you go, reach out to them. They are best placed to actually serve you and really look at your needs. So whether it's that they're looking at the process of whether that school has followed the correct process to exclude that child, if we're looking at that direct example, what kind of support was the parent or parents and the child offered up until the point of exclusion. So we look at that advocacy piece. Does the parent need that support in that situation when they're speaking with the head teacher or when they're with the board? If they're with the local authority, do they need someone to actually be that voice for them? What can the service provider do? Well, that's a conversation that the parent will then have with the service provider. We put them in touch with the best in that particular field to obviously then deal with the scenario at hand.
And also, I know you said you like to not just be reactionary, you're also obviously concentrating on the success of students and the success of parents, you know, interacting with the parents and the teachers and the student themselves. So can you name a scenario where, when you talked about entrepreneurship and all of those aspects, so how is that, like, what are you doing in that area? Because it's not always, like you say, just about there's an issue. It's also just about the success of a student.
So the last Thursday of every single month, we've been running online webinars completely free of charge again. And one of the webinars that we ran was to ensure that parents and young people know about all of the opportunities available to them where they don't need a university degree. And so what we found with that particular webinar was incredibly powerful, because a lot of our children, particularly if they are being excluded or if they're put into pupil referral units, they feel like their life is over. We're saying no. In this technological digital age, there are ways in which you can still fulfill your dreams. There are ways in which you can use your skills where you don't necessarily have to go down the traditional route. So we actually run these webinars, and we also have a lot of expertise amongst ourselves as the board and our wider networks, where we can actually speak with young people directly, and we do so, about what is entrepreneurship. What is apprenticeships? A lot of our young people don't know that they can actually benefit from looking at the apprenticeship route as opposed to the traditional A-level university route. So not only is that stated on our website, and there's a lot of information there, but equally we run these webinars to engage with the community and to give them access to this information, have a Q&A session. They're all fully recorded and accessible, again, free of charge, so that the information is there and can be disseminated where it needs to.
Just on the touch of entrepreneurship and the new technologies, so is there a specific subject area, as it were? Because obviously some people who want to go into the computer field, some people want to do other vocational type of, go in particular routes. But obviously we are in an age now where the AI, I'll just say it like that, it's a big umbrella conversation, but that is the direction. So how aware is your organisation in regards to that particular issue? Because I don't think people realise of how much of an impact that's going to play on the type of roles that students and parents who are going to be encouraging their children to go into the future. So how does your organisation handle those particular issues?
Well, that was why 3 months ago we actually had an entire webinar dedicated to that. And we actually had a variety of speakers from the cybersecurity world, as well as entrepreneurs themselves delivering the talk. Because to be quite frank with you, unless you're in that space, unless you are a successful business owner, it is very difficult. It will all be theory. So none of our seminars that we run, none of the service providers and the assistance that we offer from a theoretical position, is all from real life lived experience, past and present. So that's the first thing. But second of all is that we cannot get away from AI. There are a lot of jobs that will be made redundant if they're not already now. And we've seen it with the Amazon stores where there are no staff. So this is why we are constantly reminding parents that we don't want to focus specifically on just the traditional routes of looking at how your child can actually achieve success. There are so many different avenues, and the whole thing of side hustle, which is really big on social media at the moment, hashtag boss babe and all these kinds of things. Well, is there a positive way in which we can actually look at this subject matter and it be for the betterment of self and our wider community? And those are the discussions that we have, and the examples, more importantly, that we actually share with young people and with parents alike.
What can I say? It's a fantastic organisation. And Semerah, again, we will be waiting to hear more and more and more about the organisation as it develops and it starts to grow. I think one of the things, if you could say, because I know time is short, if you could just say what the organisation name is, what the website is, how parents or students directly or teachers can get in touch. If you can do that, that would be great.
Perfect. So it's the National Black Parents Association UK. Our website is www.mbpauk.org. And the email is support@mbpauk.org. Please email us, connect with us online, and we are here to support all parents. And by the way, a parent for us is anyone who cares about the well-being and welfare of children of African descent and mixed dual heritage. You can be based anywhere in the country, but provided you care about the well-being and welfare of our children who are black and of dual heritage, register for free, become a member, and be that voice for change with us.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you.
Again, this is part of the Windrush 75. My name is Cindy. I'm part of the Windrush Foundation team. And again, I want to say thank you all for coming here today and watching this really interesting organisation who's doing great things, and I'm sure we'll be doing incredible things in the future. So we need to make sure we're all paying attention. So thank you.